What if the world you see every day is only a small fraction of what truly exists? Imagine for a moment that beyond the physical objects, beyond the routines and distractions of daily life, there is a deeper layer of reality waiting to be perceived. A layer where intuition becomes clearer, where hidden patterns start to make sense, and where your understanding of life expands far beyond what the eyes alone can see. Across thousands of years and many different civilizations, there has been a fascinating idea about a hidden center of perception within the human mind, something often referred to as the third eye. This concept appears again and again in ancient traditions. In Hindu philosophy, it is known as the sixth chakra, the Ajna center, believed to be connected to higher awareness and deeper insight. In Buddhist teachings, it is sometimes described as a gateway to profound understanding and enlightenment. And in ancient Egypt, symbols like the Eye of Horus represented a powerful form of perception that could see beyond ordinary reality. Although these cultures were separated by vast distances and centuries of history, they all pointed toward a similar idea, that human awareness may have far greater potential than we normally use. And today, as modern science continues to explore the mysteries of the brain and consciousness, many people are once again asking the same question that philosophers and mystics asked long ago. Could there be more to perception than what we currently experience? Welcome to the Inner Code, the channel where we explore the hidden patterns of consciousness, self-discovery, and the deeper principles shaping our inner world. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the history behind the idea of the third eye, how different traditions have understood it, and why so many people throughout history believed it played a role in expanding awareness. By understanding where this idea comes from and how it has been interpreted across cultures, we can begin to see why the concept of the third eye continues to capture the imagination of people searching for deeper meaning, clarity, and a greater understanding of their own inner potential. Throughout history, the idea of the third eye has often been described as a bridge between the physical world we experience with our senses and a deeper dimension of awareness that many cultures believed exists beyond it. Ancient civilizations around the globe were fascinated by the possibility that human perception could expand far beyond ordinary sight. To understand why this idea has endured for thousands of years, it helps to explore how different cultures interpreted this mysterious center of perception and the practices they developed around it. In ancient Egypt, one of the most recognizable symbols connected to higher perception was the Eye of Horus. This powerful image appeared in temples, carvings, and protective amulets, and it represented far more than a simple artistic motif. To the Egyptians, it symbolized protection, health, balance, and a form of awareness capable of perceiving hidden layers of reality. Within the Egyptian mystery schools, centers of learning that operated for centuries, initiates studied philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, and spiritual disciplines designed to expand human understanding. Many of these traditions emphasize practices such as meditation, ritual chanting, and symbolic visualization, all intended to deepen perception and develop inner awareness. Across the world in India, a similar concept emerged within the ancient traditions of Hindu philosophy. There, the third eye is known as the Ajna chakra, located in the center of the forehead between the eyebrows. This energy center is traditionally associated with intuition, clarity of thought, and insight beyond ordinary reasoning. Yogic practices developed over thousands of years, including meditation, breathing techniques, and focused concentration, were believed to help cultivate greater awareness and balance within this center. Sacred texts describe the Ajna chakra as a gateway to deeper consciousness, where perception shifts from simply observing the world to understanding the patterns that shape it. Buddhism also carries a parallel idea. In many artistic depictions of the Buddha, a subtle mark or symbol appears on the forehead, representing awakened perception and the ability to see reality with greater clarity. Meditation traditions such as Vipassana and Zen emphasize careful observation of the mind and the present moment, practices that many teachers say help reveal the deeper nature of experience. What is remarkable is that these traditions developed independently across different regions of the world, yet they all pointed toward a similar insight, that human consciousness may have the capacity to evolve beyond habitual patterns of perception. While ancient cultures described these ideas through spiritual language and symbolism, modern discussions sometimes explore them through the lens of psychology, neuroscience, and the study of human awareness. Although the interpretations may differ, the enduring fascination with the third eye reflects a universal curiosity about the limits and the hidden possibilities of human perception. In more recent times, curiosity about the idea of the third eye has begun to move beyond ancient symbolism and spiritual philosophy, entering conversations in modern science and human biology. Researchers exploring the brain have pointed to a small but fascinating structure located deep near the center of the brain known as the pineal gland. For centuries, philosophers and mystics speculated that this tiny gland might play a role in human awareness and perception. Today, scientists know that the pineal gland is responsible for producing melatonin, a hormone that regulates the body's natural sleep-wake cycle, often called the circadian rhythm, which influences how we rest, recover, and maintain mental clarity. Because of its central position in the brain and its influence on biological rhythms, the pineal gland has often been associated with the ancient concept of the third eye. While modern science approaches this idea through measurable biological processes rather than mystical interpretation, the connection between consciousness, perception, and brain chemistry continues to spark fascinating discussions. Alongside scientific curiosity, many contemporary wellness and mindfulness practices focus on strengthening awareness through techniques such as meditation, visualization, mindful breathing, and focused attention. These practices, widely studied for their effects on stress reduction and mental clarity, are often described as ways of developing greater self-awareness and deeper perception of our inner experience. Whether explored through science, psychology, or contemplative traditions, the enduring interest in the third eye reflects a broader human desire to better understand the relationship between the brain, consciousness, and the way we perceive reality. To truly understand why the idea of the third eye continues to fascinate both spiritual traditions and modern thinkers, we need to look deeper into a remarkable structure within the human brain known as the pineal gland. This tiny gland, roughly about the size of a grain of rice, sits almost perfectly at the center of the brain, positioned between the two hemispheres and near the thalamus, an area responsible for relaying sensory information throughout the brain. Despite its small size, the pineal gland plays an essential role in regulating one of the most important biological systems in the human body, the sleep-wake cycle. It produces melatonin, the hormone that signals to the body when it is time to rest and when it is time to be alert, helping to maintain the body's circadian rhythm. This rhythm influences everything from sleep quality and mood to focus and overall mental clarity. What makes the pineal gland particularly intriguing to both scientists and philosophers is not only its function, but also its unique characteristics. Unlike many other parts of the brain, the pineal gland is not completely isolated by the blood-brain barrier, meaning it can interact more directly with chemicals circulating in the bloodstream. Inside the gland are specialized cells called pinealocytes, and interestingly, these cells share similarities with the light-sensitive photoreceptor cells found in the retina of the eye. This unusual similarity has led some researchers to explore whether the pineal gland may have evolved from primitive light-sensitive structures earlier in biological history. Another fascinating feature found within the pineal gland is the presence of microscopic calcite crystals composed primarily of calcium phosphate. Some studies have suggested that these crystals possess piezoelectric properties, meaning they can generate tiny electrical signals when exposed to pressure or vibration. While the scientific implications of this are still being studied, the discovery has sparked intriguing discussions about how the brain processes subtle forms of information from the environment. Adding to this curiosity is the presence of a naturally occurring compound known as DMT, or dimethyltryptamine. DMT belongs to a class of compounds called tryptamines and has a chemical structure similar to serotonin, a neurotransmitter that plays a key role in mood regulation and perception. In laboratory settings, DMT is known to produce intense alterations in perception and consciousness. Because of this, some researchers have explored the possibility that trace amounts of DMT may exist naturally within the human brain, though the exact role it may play in normal brain function remains an open scientific question. There are also ongoing debates about whether the pineal gland could be involved in the release of this compound during unusual or extreme states of consciousness, such as birth, near-death experiences, or profound psychological events. While these ideas are still the subject of research and discussion, they highlight just how complex and mysterious the relationship between brain chemistry and conscious experience can be. Reports from individuals who have experienced altered states of awareness, whether through deep meditation, extreme physiological stress, or certain controlled research environments, often describe sensations of expanded perception, vivid imagery, and a powerful sense of connection with their surroundings. Interestingly, many of these descriptions closely resemble the experiences that spiritual traditions have long associated with the awakening of deeper awareness or inner vision. Although science and spirituality approach these subjects from very different perspectives, the ongoing study of the brain continues to reveal that human perception and consciousness are far more intricate than we once believed. Understanding the science and history behind the pineal gland offers an intriguing perspective, but knowledge alone doesn't transform awareness. The real shift begins when these ideas are put into practice. For thousands of years, many contemplative traditions have developed simple yet powerful techniques intended to cultivate deeper focus and inner clarity. One of the most widely practiced methods is meditation, a practice designed to quiet the constant stream of thoughts and gradually direct attention inward. When practiced consistently, meditation allows the mind to settle, creating the mental space where awareness becomes sharper and more centered. In traditions that speak about the third eye, practitioners often concentrate their attention on the area between the eyebrows, sometimes visualizing a point of light or an opening that represents expanded perception. Visualization is another technique commonly used to strengthen mental focus. By intentionally imagining symbols, light, or patterns within the mind, individuals train their attention and deepen their awareness of internal experience. Over time, this process can improve concentration, emotional balance, and mental clarity, benefits that modern psychological research increasingly recognizes as real outcomes of mindfulness practices. Breath control also plays an important role in many ancient systems, particularly in yogic traditions where breathing exercises known as pranayama are used to regulate both physical energy and mental focus. Techniques such as slow, rhythmic breathing or alternate nostril breathing help calm the nervous system and bring the body into a state of balance that supports deeper states of awareness. In addition, many spiritual traditions incorporate sound through the use of mantras, specific syllables or vibrations repeated during meditation to help guide attention and maintain focus. These sounds are not used as magical formulas, but rather as tools that anchor the mind and prevent it from drifting into distraction. When combined, practices such as meditation, visualization, controlled breathing, and mindful repetition create a structured approach to developing greater self-awareness and mental stability. While different traditions may describe the goal in different ways, the underlying principle remains remarkably similar. By training attention and cultivating stillness within the mind, people can gradually experience a clearer and more focused perception of themselves and the world around them. But the real question many people ask is this: what actually changes when someone begins to develop deeper awareness through these practices? Across many contemplative traditions, the answer is not described as gaining supernatural powers, but rather as a gradual shift in perception, a change in the way a person experiences their own mind, emotions, and the world around them. One of the most commonly described changes is a heightened sense of intuition. Intuition, in this context, does not mean predicting the future in a mystical way. Instead, it refers to the mind's ability to recognize patterns and insights more quickly, often before conscious reasoning fully explains them. As awareness grows, people often report becoming more attentive to subtle signals in their environment, small details in conversations, emotional cues from others, or internal signals from their own thoughts and feelings that they may have previously overlooked. This heightened awareness can create a sense of clarity that helps people navigate complex situations with greater confidence. Many individuals who practice mindfulness or meditation regularly also report improvements in mental focus and cognitive clarity. When the constant stream of distracting thoughts slows down, the mind becomes more capable of concentrating on what truly matters. Decisions that once felt overwhelming may begin to feel more manageable because attention is no longer scattered in so many directions at once. Instead of reacting impulsively, people often develop the ability to pause, observe, and respond more thoughtfully. Emotional awareness is another area where noticeable changes can occur. As people become more attentive to their inner experience, they may begin to recognize emotional patterns that previously operated unconsciously. Feelings such as frustration, anxiety, or anger become easier to identify and process rather than automatically controlling behavior. Over time, this self-awareness can make it easier to transform difficult emotional states into more balanced responses such as patience, understanding, or compassion. This emotional stability often leads to stronger relationships because people who understand their own emotional reactions tend to communicate more clearly and respond more calmly in challenging situations. Increased awareness can also influence how individuals interpret the events unfolding in their daily lives. Situations that once appeared confusing or stressful may begin to reveal patterns or lessons that were previously hidden beneath surface reactions. With a clearer perspective, people often find it easier to recognize opportunities for growth, while also identifying circumstances that may not support their well-being. In this way, developing inner awareness does not remove life's challenges, but it can change how those challenges are understood and approached. Many people also notice changes in their physical well-being as they maintain consistent mindfulness practices. Because meditation and controlled breathing can help regulate the nervous system, they are often associated with reduced stress and improved sleep quality. As the body enters more balanced physiological rhythms, individuals may experience greater daily energy, improved focus, and a stronger sense of overall stability. Scientific studies on mindfulness and meditation increasingly support these observations, showing measurable improvements in stress regulation, emotional resilience, and cognitive performance. Ultimately, the transformation described in many contemplative traditions is not about escaping reality. It is about perceiving it more clearly. By learning to observe thoughts, emotions, and experiences without immediately reacting to them, people gradually develop a deeper sense of presence and understanding. This shift in awareness allows individuals to engage with life more intentionally, making choices that align more closely with their values, goals, and overall well-being. In this sense, the awakening of deeper awareness is less about discovering something outside of ourselves and more about rediscovering the clarity that has always been present within the mind. While the idea of expanding awareness can sound inspiring, the path toward deeper self-understanding is rarely instant or effortless. In fact, one of the most common challenges people encounter when exploring practices that develop awareness is impatience. In a world that moves quickly and rewards immediate results, it's easy to expect transformation to happen overnight. But real inner growth rarely follows that kind of timeline. Just as physical fitness develops gradually through consistent effort, mental clarity and emotional balance grow step by step through steady practice. Many people begin meditation or mindfulness exercises expecting dramatic changes within days, only to feel discouraged when the process unfolds more slowly than they imagined. Yet the truth is that each moment of awareness, no matter how small, contributes to a larger shift over time. Progress often happens quietly, beneath the surface, shaping the way we think, react, and understand ourselves. Another challenge that naturally arises along this journey is doubt. It's common to question whether these practices are truly working or whether you're doing them correctly. Skepticism is not a weakness. In fact, thoughtful questioning can deepen understanding. Learning from reliable sources, reading widely, and listening to experienced teachers can provide helpful perspectives that make the path feel clearer and more grounded. Over time, curiosity often replaces uncertainty, and the practice itself becomes a source of insight rather than confusion. Consistency is another obstacle that many people face. Modern life is filled with distractions, constant notifications, demanding schedules, and endless streams of information competing for attention. In this environment, it can be difficult to maintain even a few minutes of daily reflection or quiet focus. Yet consistency is often the key that unlocks deeper results. Simple habits, such as taking a few minutes each morning to breathe slowly, reflect, or observe your thoughts, can gradually reshape the way the mind responds to stress and uncertainty. Small, regular practices often create far more lasting change than occasional bursts of intense effort. Fear can also appear along the way. As people begin to look more closely at their inner experience, they may encounter unfamiliar thoughts, emotions, or perspectives that feel uncomfortable at first. This reaction is natural. Growth often requires stepping beyond familiar mental patterns, and that process can feel uncertain. The important thing is to approach these moments with patience and openness rather than resistance. Calm breathing, self-reflection, and supportive learning environments can help create the stability needed to navigate these experiences in a healthy and balanced way. External influences can also shape the journey. Friends, family members, or social environments may not always understand why someone chooses to explore mindfulness or contemplative practices. In a culture that often prioritizes constant productivity, taking time for quiet reflection may even seem unusual. For this reason, creating a supportive environment can be incredibly helpful. Setting aside a peaceful space, surrounding yourself with encouraging influences, and maintaining healthy routines can strengthen your commitment to personal growth. Yet perhaps the most important lesson of all is this: every person's path toward greater awareness is unique. What works for one individual may not work for another, and that diversity is part of the process. Instead of forcing yourself to follow a rigid formula, learning to listen to your own experience can be one of the most powerful guides. When you approach personal growth with curiosity, patience, and compassion toward yourself, progress becomes less about achieving a specific result and more about deepening your relationship with your own mind and life. In many ways, the deeper message behind these practices is simple but profound. Clarity does not come from escaping reality, but from learning to see it more honestly. When we slow down enough to observe our thoughts and emotions without immediately reacting to them, we begin to recognize patterns that were always there but previously unnoticed. Over time, this awareness allows us to respond to life with greater intention rather than automatic habit. Instead of being pulled in every direction by stress, distraction, or impulse, we develop the ability to pause, reflect, and choose our actions more consciously. This is where the deeper principle of the inner code begins to reveal itself. The inner code represents the patterns of thought, attention, and awareness that shape the way we experience life from the inside out. When we learn to observe those patterns with honesty and patience, we gain the power to refine them. That shift doesn't require mystical abilities or extraordinary circumstances. It begins with simple awareness, one breath, one observation, one thoughtful decision at a time. Over months and years, those small moments of awareness accumulate, gradually transforming how we relate to challenges, opportunities, and the people around us. Life itself may not become easier, but our understanding of it becomes deeper and more balanced. And that deeper understanding often leads to wiser choices, stronger relationships, and a more meaningful sense of direction. In this sense, exploring awareness is not about unlocking something supernatural. It's about rediscovering the clarity that already exists within every human mind. Before we finish, we'd love to hear your perspective. What is one habit or practice that helps you stay calm, focused, or aware in your daily life? Share your thoughts in the comments so everyone in the community can learn from different experiences. And if you enjoyed this exploration, please consider subscribing to support the Inner Code and help us continue creating thoughtful content like this in future videos.